All right, welcome to the Sweet Science of Fight and Jiu-Jitsu Instructional channel. James and Ryan here. Today we're going to take you through the first of the turtle attacking series. This one we're going to go through a bunch of crucifix positions. So just get into crucifix position from turtle. So make sure you go down in the description. The Sweet Science of Fighting Underground is there, or the Jiu-Jitsu strength conditioning programs are down there.
We're going to be attacking the turtle position. There are, just as a side note, there are different types of turtle you can that you'll have to approach. And the first one is kind of what James is doing here, where his elbows are more tight to his hips. We refer to this kind of like the panda system. Instead of traditionally where our elbows would be on the inside, and we're just kind of stay tight here. My recommendation, honestly, is to have elbows retracted to the hips, or we say where the wrist bends, that's where it goes. And this is a whole other topic. There's gonna be a ton of questions like, well, can't you just get strangled? But I won't go into that. But traditionally, when they put the elbows to the ground and you keep the elbows on the inside, this is actually why we don't really do this much anymore. And it's because there's usually like a shelf here. You can see this like, or a ramp. And I can simply just place my knee here. I can wedge my hand in between. I can start to like press my knee through, and then we can start to gain inside position. So what we're gonna do is, there's a lot of entries into a crucifix position. One of the easiest entries that I'll do is I establish kind of a grip on the hip here, and I just put my foot, I place my foot here. And, you know, especially nowadays, everybody's wrestling, so you'll see this, and they'll grab the leg. Again, this isn't a terrible thing for the person on bottom to do. Again, the skill level will matter here. If he's a really good wrestler, he may take me down, and I'm not good at jiu-jitsu. But for the most part, when they grab the foot, this is where the crucifix will come into play. So you have a couple options here. The first option is I can roll to my shoulder and take the person over and get to the actual crucifix position, or I can lace my hands here and pull him back, okay? I'll just say it depends, honestly, on the size of the person. If somebody's a little smaller than me, I will typically try to roll to my shoulder. If somebody's substantially bigger, you won't roll to your shoulder. It'd be very difficult. So I'll have to get here and I pull him back. So usually we just pull the person back. And so notice my foot position here. As I'm pulling him back, this knee is popping out and I'm getting here, okay? I wanna try to avoid just doing a triangle with my legs. I'm more Xing my legs and pinching my knees together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about, excuse me, is a double attack. So the first thing I typically do is get to a double attack. Now the way I do this is I control this arm with an underhook, just as I had it before, and my legs are controlling the forearm here. And I don't want to be flat on my back, okay? Because if I stay flat on my back, there's no way I can get my arm around his head, and it actually helps him a little bit by bridging and kind of getting over to the other side. This can make things a little difficult. So the first thing I need to do is do basic shrimp. So I place the foot and I shrimp. Once I have the shrimp, you can see how much closer I am, right? My head is getting closer to his head, and my arm can actually go all the way around his neck now. So first point of control is this hand. I need to control this hand. And what generally ends up happening is, as I go across, they will grab my hand, okay? Now, since it's kind of a 2-on-1 situation here, we simply just grab the knuckle line with the 4 fingers, we squeeze them, I pull it up, and I punch my arm through. And this gives me control of the hand, okay? You want to avoid trying to grab the wrist here, okay? Because he can just punch out of this and roll out of it, and it'd be hard to get the arm back. So we're going to control the hand and just keep it low, okay? So once I get the hand, we're good to go. The first attack is going to be obviously to the choke, the strangulation here. So I take my thumb and I place it on his neck here. So you'll see here, just right here. And what I do is I try to slide my thumb under and wiggle it through, because their last defense is to tuck their chin really tight. And some guys can be really tight here, so I just take my thumb again, I place it on the neck, and I wiggle my thumb through. Once my thumb starts to get through, I open my elbow and my knuckles, my first 2 knuckles press through. They press through, and then I'm able to open my hand, and now I'm under the chin. Once I'm under the chin, my goal is to get to his shoulder. So I need to go across and reach his shoulder. My elbow ideally wants to be close to his chin, under his chin. And that's how I know I've made it. So I get here, underneath his chin, and I cover my hand with my own chin, so I'm face to face, and we rotate our elbow back, okay? What you want to avoid when you're trying to do the strangulation here is a pulling. You do not want to pull, okay? What you actually want to do is, almost like if he was wearing a gi, I want to do like a lapel choke. I want to drop my elbow behind me. But because I'm anchoring on his shoulder, this is, you can actually create the pressure to actually finish the strangulation. So that's going to be your first submission. The second submission is going to be with the legs, okay? So there's a lot of questions about how to do the arm bar with the leg. Where we do this is, my top leg is generally going to be on, my outside leg is going to be on top here usually. And all I really want to do is get down to the wrist. So if I have my legs pinched here, I'm just going to drive my leg down to the wrist. And it could be behind my knee. It could be on my Achilles here. And then I want to create an X with my legs. And if you'll notice very specifically, my bottom leg is crossing over top of the hand. So my outside leg is getting to the wrist, my bottom leg crosses over the top of the hand. And now this kind of locks him from doing any kind of thumb movement, right? Because now he's X'd out on the wrist. And then simply, I would take my heels to my butt. I don't need a bridge here. I just take my hold on here, and I take my heels to my butt, and there's the submission. You can also add a pulling mechanism here if you want to pull his head away, so you get extension of the shoulder. This creates a little more tension, and then it happens really fast, right? So these two things will happen at the same time. Those are your two submissions. So as we're going, I'm getting here, and I get my thumb in, I'm taking my legs down, and then he has to make a choice of which one he's tapping to. Now the reason why you want to do both these together is because they kind of help each other. The more, say he tucks his chin, and you just can't get your arm through, right? If I start tacking his arm, sometimes I'll start going with the arm, they'll lift them, so like they'll bridge and they'll lift their chin, and then I can get under the chin, right? A lot of times if I can't, if I'm going for the arm bar, and he's really focusing on the arm, then I'm gonna start to go, I can drive my hand through. So you can, it'll work both ways, right? So I'm focusing, I'll go for the choke, he's really focused on the choke, I'll take the arm. I go for the arm, he's really focused on the arm, I go for the choke. So it's a layered attack. So I know that was kind of a long explanation, but I kind of wanted to cover a lot of the key points to controlling the position and really the little details on where you're trying to actually place your hands and your feet. So that's going to be your first double attack with the crucifix position. So everything's the same here, but what we're going to do now is instead of trying to pull him back, I'm going to roll to my shoulder. So when I get to my seatbelt position and I step up and he grabs my leg, I want to roll to my shoulder. So this is very useful. Typically what I'll do is I'll turn my hand here and I'll cup either the shoulder or I'll Nelson the neck. Now you can do this, he may post, but that's fine if he posts. If I try to go and he posts, I can simply just take the hand and it's pretty simple here. But sometimes it's hard to get the hand, that's why, but you'll always be able to get this, just kind of like this position, right? But as soon as the hand is exposed, I'll grab the hand, I'll pull it in. I turn to my shoulder. As I roll to my shoulder, simply roll through, and I'm in the same position we just had. Again, I need to not be flat, I need to drop him in the bucket as I shrimp, and now I have the angle to actually finish. So, your basic crucifix entry, you can roll to the shoulder or you can pull the person back. And again, I like this just because it's very simple. I'm not trying to like grind my leg through or anything crazy. I'm just placing my foot there. And you can go over things if they don't grab the leg, which we'll cover. We'll cover another entry going to the crucifix with the far arm. So, but yeah, that's going to be the double attack.